So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. And in this video, I'm going to get straight to the point. We're going to be talking about how we go about scaling OnlyFans models to $50,000 a month plus at my agency. So obviously, I've been doing this for around 5 years now. When I was 18 years old, I started this business and I've been scaling up models. I've been around the industry. I've seen every change that happened. So here's the most up-to-date information on exactly what we're doing to scale up these OnlyFans models. Okay, so let's get into it. So up here we have just a very simple little synopsis of what an OnlyFans management agency actually is. So how we scale OnlyFans models to $50,000 a month, the purpose of an OFM agency. So the ultimate purpose of an OnlyFans agency is to help creators scale. The more creators scale, the more money you make as an OnlyFans management agency owner. So it's not complicated at all. It's literally a question of getting creators for your agency, scaling them up, and you will make money. So if you can do those two things, which involve getting creators and then getting them results, then you're always going to be able to make money from this, and not just a bit of money. You're going to be able to make a shit ton of money. Okay, so let's get into it. So here we have the scaling framework. So we have the current situation of the model here, and then we have the desired situation, which is $50,000 a month. And we are taking them through this purpose. So the current situation of the model may be different for lots of different models, but there tends to be some similarities. So they could be doing around about 5K a month when you go ahead and sign them. So we have an OnlyFans model who's doing 5K a month. They could be struggling to get more subscribers. That could be a key issue that they're experiencing. They just might not have enough time to manage everything. Again, people who say OnlyFans isn't their business, they are sorely mistaken, because it is a business, and it's one that you can't really do as a one-person team and get it up to $50,000 a month. All these models you see printing, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a month, even models printing millions of dollars a month with their OnlyFans account. The way they're doing that is by working with agencies. So there's a misconception out there. Some people are like, well, why would a model want to work with an agency? Because they can't make money without an agency. In order to get up to those sort of making that much money, they need to work with an agency who handles the workload for them and handles it better, frankly. Okay? So that may be the current situation. They have lots of different problems. Obviously, each model's current situation is a little bit different from one another. So we then have niching. So the first thing that we do with all our models when we go ahead and onboard them at my agency is we give them a model niche builder, and essentially a template that we built at my agency, which we send over to them, and they go ahead and fill it out. And once they've filled it out, we can then select a good niche that fits them. Lots of agencies make the mistake of picking a niche for the model to go in. You don't want to do that, because it's important that the model has continuity and she actually enjoys creating the content and she actually enjoys building her brand. If you pick a niche that she isn't comfortable with, so for example, you have an OnlyFans girl who comes to you and you say, hey, we're gonna pick the niche, and you're gonna be a goth girl, because goth girls, they make lots of money, and it's a very niched audience, and they have lots of high spenders, so we're going to put you in this niche. That's not going to work, because the model's going to have to then start doing goth makeup. She's then going to have to start buying a bunch of different clothes. It's just not going to be her niche, and the more she does that, the more dissonance, I think it is called, the more dissonance she's going to experience with the brand that she's building, and you're not going to keep her around for the long haul. So there's all these sort of little tips and tricks around kind of, getting a good niche and identifying a good niche for the model. Okay, so once we've done the niching, it then goes to the content creation process. So the model actually has to go ahead and create content for this niche. OnlyFans is essentially a content marketing business at the front end and at the back end, and we need content to do both. Now, we can also do supplemental content with using AI tools and all this sort of stuff, but we cover that in depth inside my program. This isn't for YouTube level knowledge. And then we then have subscriber acquisition. So subscriber acquisition, the art of getting subscribers to your OnlyFans models pages. And essentially, we're using a bunch of different promotional strategies in order to get these subscribers interested and going to the model's OnlyFans account. Then we then have subscriber optimization. So getting as much juice for our squeeze with those subscribers who come in. So instead of having a average lifetime value of $30 with each subscriber who comes in. We have an average lifetime value of $100 plus with each subscriber that comes in. And that way we don't need to get that many subscribers. I hear about agencies, or people getting started in this space. They say, well, getting subscribers for my model is, a bit of a hassle. It is kind of difficult. There's lots of other agencies out there competing for subscribers, and it tends to be people's main problem point. But the real problem point is disguised. It's subscriber optimization. There's so many agencies who don't do this properly, and they're just focused on getting new traffic in. But here's the catch. If you're good at subscriber optimization, you don't need to get that many subscribers in. We had one agency who was in our consulting program, OnlyFans Millions operating system, and essentially what we helped him with was we helped him install our subscriber optimization that we use, and he literally had 42 subscribers within his model OnlyFans account, and he was able to make $25K a month just from 42 subscribers. Now, obviously, that's an extreme end. He had a few whales in the account, people who were spending thousands and thousands of dollars every single month on the model. But that can be the same for you. You don't need that many subscribers. Like, you can be making lots of money from just a couple of hundred of subscribers, okay? People under this misconception you need to get hundreds a day, which just isn't true. And this can get a model up to $50,000 a month. So you pick the right niche, you have good niching, have the right content, use the content for subscriber acquisition, and then subscriber optimization. Okay, so it's those four things combined. It's the scaling framework of how we take the model from a current situation, which isn't ideal, to doing over $50,000 a month within the OnlyFans account. Okay, so we've got a ton of info that I'm going to be showing you guys here. So first, we're going to start off with the niching aspect of the scaling framework. Okay, so first things first is niching. So many people get this wrong. And you need to get it right from the get-go if you're going to be effective at building these OnlyFans models up, okay? So first things first, we have niche priming. So there's 3 different key things to look for that are going to build the ideal niche. If you pick the ideal niche, everything is going to be so much easier from the get-go. It's going to be so much easier to get subscribers. It's going to be so much easier to monetize subscribers. And it's going to be easier for the model to create content as well. So if you're starting off on the wrong niche, then you're going to find everything is going to be 50x harder than it needs to be. Okay, so we look for demand, differentiation, and monetization. Okay, so is there demand for the niche? Is there differentiation for the niche? And is there monetization for the niche? Okay, so for demand, we want to make sure there's a hungry market for the niche. You don't want to pick a niche which no one's interested in. You don't want to come up with some magical niche and there's no one out there searching for it. There's no one out there who's got a fantasy around that niche, because otherwise you're going to make no money. So you need to make sure the niche is in demand. Now, there's niches out there, they go through kind of waves and fluctuations of what's more in demand. Like back in 2022, it was more around the e-girl scene. In 2023, kind of pivoted to the MILF scene. And like nowadays, it's like the office girl scene and fitness models. So it kind of pivots around what's in demand. And obviously, if the niche that you're in has lots and lots of demand and lots of demand that is untapped, there's not lots and lots of creators within that niche already, then it's going to be so much easier for you to scale up the OnlyFans account. Okay, so you want to look for search volume and fan base size. So are people actively looking for this niche on Reddit, Twitter, TikTok, Pornhub, etc.? Whale potential. So does this niche attract guys who spend a lot, or does it attract lots of guys who just lurk and don't really want to spend? So there's examples of niches which, cosplay, for example, these subscribers spend lots of money. If it's a dominant model, dominant girl, they tend to spend lots of money. And then you get these niches where people don't really spend much money. So, for example, Girl Next Door is an example of a niche where people don't really spend that much money. You then have longevity. So is it a fad? So AI girls, short-term trends, or something timeless? Fetishes, role-playing, MILF, fitness. So you want to pick something timeless and not something which is just a fad which is going to die out. Because otherwise you're going to do all this work and then in a year's time you're going to have to go back to square one because all the fad's over and you're having to start from scratch. So you want to pick something that is going to go ahead and actually enable you to put work into it and compound month after month, okay? So an example, feet pics. It's very saturated, it's low ticket, feet pics is a terrible niche to pick. Some girls are under the illusion that they can just upload some pictures of their feet and they're going to be a millionaire. Well, that's just not the case. There's so many girls who have had that sort of thought. It's quite a niche audience, like feet pics. It's saturated. Again, you've got lots of girls in it, and again, those sort of guys tend to be cheapskates. They're trying to get stuff for free. Then you have Fendom, JOI. It's timeless, and whales will drop dollars for custom humiliation. So again, it's easy to make money within a dominant niche as opposed to a submissive niche, and it's just because of the nature of it. Like if a model's in the dominant niche, you can be more direct with the subscribers, saying, "Hey, give me money. My rent's due. I need you to send me money now," and they're gonna do that. Whereas with submissive girls, you need to be a little bit more tactical, saying, "Oh, my rent's due. I'm having problems with it. Or could you help me out? Or if not, no worries." Like that sort of stuff. So it's just you're not going to make as much money. But again, you can 100% make it work through the submissive niches by maybe implementing some sort of guilt tripping, maybe implementing a little bit more of an emotional angle to it. Okay. We then have differentiation. So can she stand out? So looking at her personal fit, is the niche aligned with her natural look / personality so it feels authentic? Okay. So if she is a shy girl, you don't want to go ahead and pick like the dominant goth mistress like niche, because it's just when she's creating content, it's not going to be authentic. And authenticity is everything nowadays. It is everything. There's so much noise on the internet. People are looking for people who are authentic. So by having a model aligned with a niche which is authentic to her personal fit. And then content positioning. So can she bring a unique angle? So is she good at storytelling? Is she good at character play? She have a certain aesthetic, a certain lifestyle. Look at this sort of stuff on how you're going to go ahead and position that content and whether you can position the content good for that particular niche. And then visual branding. So does she look different enough from the 100 other models in the space? Okay, so is she just another girl who's joining a saturated niche and she's got zero differentiation? Or is she a girl who's got a bit of a unique look to her, so she's got some differentiation and she's able to join a niche which isn't saturated? So an example is not just a fitness girl, but a tattooed fit dom who does workout jerk-off instructions, so niching down. And then monetization, so does it scale? So is there high-spending fans? So some niches attract simps, others attract whales. She wants the latter. Upsell path, so customs, girlfriend experiences, dick ratings, roleplay sessions, pay-per-views. Can the niche be monetized beyond $10 subscriptions? So is the model also willing to go ahead and offer these upsell services? Because if not, you're going to struggle to scale that model because you can just be relying on those subscriptions coming through on $10 subs, where the real money is going ahead selling customs, girlfriend experiences, and all these sort of upsells here. And then cross-platform growth. So will this niche convert well on TikTok, IG, and Reddit promo? Or is it too shadow banned and difficult? So is she going to struggle on TikTok because TikTok's a little bit more restrictive than Instagram? Or is she going to be okay with it? And if she is restricted on certain platforms, will that be a limitation? Or will she just be able to capture a large audience on a particular channel? So you need to be looking at this sort of stuff. Example, cosplay is endless upsells. You have customs, props, roleplay videos, plus TikTok viral potential. Okay, so those are the three things we're looking for: demand, differentiation, and monetization. And if you get those three criteria right, you, my friend, are going to find the perfect niche for your model, which is going to allow you to make a lot and lots of money. Okay. So we can take a look at Amazon's playbook for this. They do a playbook, and you may be thinking, surely Amazon can't apply to OnlyFans. Well, yes, it can, because it's just a business like any other. So Amazon, they started off as just an online bookstore. So it was literally just a web page, and they just offered books, and they'd sell books. That's how they started off. So a very niched audience. They were marketing to people who were just interested in reading and liked books and wanted the convenience of being able to buy them without going to the bookstore. That's initially who they were marketing to, a very, very small niche. Now, the maximum amount of money they would be able to make within that particular niche was maybe, a few million a year. At that point, they were kind of getting capped. So they then expanded to related categories. So they started doing other sort of stuff, so like CDs and that sort of thing. Doing that expansion allowed them to capture a larger audience, so they were able to make more money. But they also didn't start off doing related categories because they would have struggled, as they would have had to compete against people who already got a big audience. So there's a common misconception out there that it's hard to build a new OnlyFans account because there's already big OnlyFans creators out there. Well, this is exactly how you combat it. You start off very niched and you go ahead and you expand bigger once you've built up the platform and the audience initially. So once they were making a few million a year from this, and they had lots of customers coming through, they were then able to invest that capital. They were then able to go ahead and expand to a bigger niche, as they could compete against the bigger players. And then they expanded to everyday goods, again allowing them to make more money. And they didn't just start off in that, so they were still able to go ahead and get up to that point because they weren't competing in a saturated market against big players. And now they're doing sort of services. They're doing like digital services, like, they've got Amazon Prime, you've got AWS, like the software that they use for like the content management and all that sort of stuff. So they've expanded to be this huge thing, and they're still offering all of this stuff, but each and every evolution they've done, they were marketing it to a bigger audience. And the reason they didn't start off at doing full-on services is because they would have been very saturated and it would have been very difficult to offer all that stuff. So you start off small and you scale it up. So we can apply the same to OnlyFans. So you can start off in a very niched audience like Goth Girl. If your model, again, if she aligns with that particular niche, you can start off with Goth Girl, start marketing her there, start getting her up to, a few, like tens of thousands a month just from getting Goth Girl. And then maybe you've kind of hit a cap in terms of how big that audience is. Then you go ahead and add on Fandom. So you can go ahead and add that on. Again, you're getting to a bigger audience and you're not struggling to get subscribers because you already have a subscriber base built up from this. You already have an audience. You already have some loyal followers built up. So when you do expand to this, you're carrying on momentum rather than trying to compete in this bigger niche where the model just isn't going to get seen or heard. Okay, so in order to get seen and heard, you start in a very specialized niche and then you go ahead and kind of expand and expand and expand. So you get some people out there like looking at Sophie Rain's niche, like, yeah, I'm going to pick Sophie Rain's niche. Her niche is like submissive, virgin girl, that sort of thing. I'm just going to pick that. But again, you're going to be competing against her, which she has a big audience, and it's going to be hard to stand out. So the way that you go about, getting up to her level would be starting off in a very specialized niche and then building it up. So hopefully you understand niching, you understand the 3 fundamentals that you need to pick when looking at your model's niche, and you also understand the Amazon playbook and how you can apply that to scaling up OnlyFans creators, okay? So niching is something that's really important. So many people overlook it and just focus on account and scaling, whereas a big component on both of those is picking the right niche. So we now have the next one, which is content. So we use the Honeycomb method. Okay, and it's a method that we've perfected over the years, and it just allows us to get the right content in so we can start attracting subscribers and monetizing them effectively. So at first we have the discovery. So the goal of this is to pull traffic into the funnel. This is where 90% of models fail because they just post sexy with no system. So the content types for discovery. So this is kind of top of funnel. So if you look at marketing in terms of like a funnel, and at the top, you go ahead and get people in, that's top of funnel. You then go ahead and kind of nurture them, get them warmed up to the model, that's middle funnel. And then you have the bottom of funnel, that's like the conversions, okay? So you get 100,000 people viewing a video, you get a few thousand of them, you get tens of thousands of them getting nurtured, and then you get a few thousand of them who actually go ahead and purchase stuff or join the OnlyFans account, etc. Okay? So at the top of the funnel, we have discovery. And we have different content types we can use for this. So this is like TikTok, IG Reels, safe for work, hot but not explicit, using trendy audios, thirst traps, personality clips, cosplay transitions, gym, POV, flirty looks, that sort of content. Reddit, so fetish subreddits aligned with a niche, cosplay subs, feet subs, fandom subs, etc. Daily posts watermarked. Twitter and X, so spicier previews, pay-per-view teasers, polls, personality takes, retweet OF promo accounts. So we have a system, 2 to 3 TikTok Reels daily, batch filmed, 5 to 10 Reddit posts daily across niche subs, 3 to 5 tweets per day, and we can go ahead, build this framework, and then we can build multiple accounts and scale this up. But at first, we need this sort of content coming in, okay? So the purpose of this is that she's everywhere. People keep seeing her. Curiosity builds, okay? So you just want to get her out there. More eyeballs, the more money you can make, okay? We then have conversion. So once the traffic is warm, get them into OF. So we have a funnel structure. So this is like the TikTok and IG bio. We have a link tree and then links to the OF. On Reddit posts, we have OF link pinned in profile. On Twitter, we have a pinned tweet to go into OF. Conversion tactics, so we have teasers, we have between 5 to 15-second clips to cut off right before action, and then you're using call to action to go ahead and get them inside the OnlyFans. We then have a free OF plus paid OF combo. So we can push all this traffic to the free OF, and then for the free OF, we can go ahead and market them and push them to the paid OF, okay? And this way we can kind of just get them in the funnel. And we can use the urgency hook, so free for 24 hours only 100 spots left. This sort of stuff pushes subscriptions to happen. We then have retention. So this is where the money really is, and it's a content mix inside OF. So we have daily wall posts, weekly longer videos, stories, DM strategy, and the psychology is to rotate between intimacy, make them feel special and scarcity, limited time offers, just drop sort of things. And then fans don't cancel if they feel connected, plus always see new drops. So it's important that we keep retention levels high by having high activity levels inside the OF account. So if you look at OnlyFans account and you see that the models are just posting one time a week, chances are it's not going to be very high engagement. She's not going to be getting many comments. She's not going to be getting many likes. And that translates to not many DMs happening and not many monetization opportunities. Okay, so we want to make sure that we've got activity and we're building that intimacy, and we're also applying some scarcity to keep them in. We then have monetizations. This is where we move models from like 8K a month to 50K plus a month. So we have upsell systems to do this. So pay-per-view drops, so tease on the wall, it's a locked video, $15, $50. Customs, they go ahead and pay, upwards of $300 plus to get a custom video from the model. Girlfriend experience, texting, just voice notes, $5 to $10 per day. Findom, premium chats for whales who want to feel owned. Bundles, buy 3 pay-per-views for $75. Holiday bundle. The top 1% trick is chatters. So you train or hire chatters to go ahead and upsell 24/7 in the DMs. This scales massively. So doing all this sort of stuff, sending sexting sets, selling those sort of pre-made content, having the chatters in there, building relationships, monetizing those relationships, and that's how you make money. So all of the content for this, so the content for the discovery, the content for the conversion, more like teasing, the content for the retention, so building intimacy, and then the content for the monetization, all of this goes ahead and creates a psychological ecosystem. Okay, so we call this the Honeycomb method, getting them in one step at a time. And this creates a psychological ecosystem, and this is what it looks like. So we have curiosity and desire. We want these 3 things: curiosity and desire, intimacy and belonging, status and escalation. So if we can go ahead and have these 3 fundamentals, psychological principles being built through this content ecosystem, then we can go ahead and make a lot and lots of money. And if you look at all the top creators, you can guarantee that they're doing all of this. So curiosity and desire, posting stuff on like Twitter, describe me in one word, be honest. Again, kind of, nothing too revealing, just building a little bit of curiosity around the model. Again, nothing too revealing, but building a little bit more curiosity, building a bit more of a sexual tease there as well. So that builds the curiosity and desire there. They start getting curious about who this person is, and they start having a desire for this person. So that applies typically to the top of funnel and mid of funnel, okay? We then have intimacy and belonging. So again, when in the bottom of funnel, when we're going ahead and monetizing people, we're sending these sort of captions. So I need your feedback. I want to make my page better for my fans. So I've been taking some of my fans' feedback and trying to make more explicit content. So again, intimacy and belonging, acting as if she values their feedback when she couldn't really care less, but she's acting as if she values their feedback in order to create that sort of intimacy and belonging. So they can then go ahead and give feedback, and she'll say, oh, thank you so much for the feedback. And then she'll implement that feedback. And that creates a feeling of intimacy, like you're being listened to, being heard from, and then belonging as well. So if they are able to interact with the OnlyFans page and they're able to give feedback, they're able to take part, then they go ahead and they feel like they belong. So they always want people to be going ahead and having active participation within the OnlyFans account, like through polls, through votes, through comments, through feedback, all this sort of stuff. And that's the sort of thing you want to trigger. And then status and escalation. So going ahead and showing the top spenders, so it creates a little bit of competition. Typically, it's males who go ahead and purchase OnlyFans content. You do get some females who come into the OnlyFans model accounts we manage and they purchase content, but typically it's done majority by males, and males tend to be very competitive at their core. This is, a fact for most males, and with this competitiveness, you can then go ahead and create some status and escalation. So you can have VIP option, so an option to become a VIP member if you tip $97, and then they tip that and they get be seen as a VIP, and they get special treatment, and that's sort of status games. They have extra status within the account. Also kind of showcasing the top spenders, saying whoever the top spender is this week, I'm going to shout them out, and I'm going to send them X, Y, and Z content, and this creates more competition. People are going to be competing to spend as much money as possible in order to get that top spot, so they have more status within the OnlyFans account. Okay, they feel like they're richer than other people, they feel like they're better, they're contributing more. So it's all about these sort of triggers, okay? Curiosity, desire, intimacy, belonging, status, and escalation. If you can trigger this psychological ecosystem throughout the model's socials and OnlyFans account through the content, then you are going to go ahead and make lots and lots of money, okay? Next, we go ahead and we have subscriber acquisition, okay? So for subscriber acquisition, we have a few different things. So first, we have traffic, okay? So we want to go ahead and acquire traffic through social media assets across a wide variety of platforms and build them up with the platform best practices. So we can go ahead and build these core main social media accounts across these platforms. So like a core social media account for the model on X, one on Instagram, one on YouTube, one on Twitter, one on Snapchat. And we want to build these up so we're getting this compound growth. So we have these big core levers, big core accounts that are getting more and more views every single month as we're posting daily content on them. And these are all these big platforms just start building. So month one, you may just have a few thousand subscribers. Month two ends up with 10,000 plus or followers. Month three, high 10,000. Month 4, 100,000, and you just build it up to the point where you got 3 million followers, 7.8 million followers. You didn't get a 7.8 million followers in a particular day, and nor does any model. They go ahead and build this up. And I see so many agencies focusing on black hat strategies, focusing on creating 100 plus accounts and scaling up those accounts to get traffic quick. Whereas that's okay, but all that stuff is supplemental. Okay, and we talk about this inside my program, and we give you the tools to do that to get quick traffic, but it's supplemental to the core strategy, which is essentially a content powerhouse so having your model as essentially a big brand on all these different platforms, posting content daily, posting really good quality content, and that just kind of organically snowballing month after month. We're just going to make the process of getting traffic so much easier rather than starting an account, getting banned, buying another account, etc. Okay, so we just focus on these core levers and build up big social media platforms across each individual channel with the best practices so we can scale up as quick as possible. We then have retargeting. So for retargeting, it's really important, and we want a omnipresent strategy, okay? So we want to go ahead and we want them to basically, no matter what platform they use, they go ahead and they see the model's content. And the way that we can do this is by, instead of linking directly to OnlyFans, we can also have links to the social medias as well. So they can click on this, they can then go ahead and click on, let's say they found the model on Twitter, they'll then click on this, they're following the model on Twitter, they can then click on the Instagram as well to check that out, so maybe they want to watch some reels, maybe it's a bit of build up before they're subscribed to the OnlyFans, and then they could then go ahead and follow the model on the Instagram. So that way, no matter what platform they go on, chances are they're going to see that model's content, and they're going to get either prompted to go back to the OnlyFans account or get prompted to subscribe to the OnlyFans account. So the way you get more subscribers is by having more people see your content and see it more often as well. So we want to build an omnipresent strategy that allows people to easily find out other social medias, so they can go ahead and follow the model across all these different platforms. So no matter when they open up their phone, every platform they go on, they see that model's content, and that then causes a trigger to go to OnlyFans. There's typically always triggers involved that lead people to go into OnlyFans. The people don't just wake up and go, oh yeah, I'm going to go to OnlyFans. These subscribers, they tend to go ahead and go on Instagram, they scroll through, they see a model that they like, they then go ahead and go, oh yeah, I'm subscribed to OnlyFans, or I want to subscribe to OnlyFans, and they then go ahead and subscribe, okay? So that's what we're doing in this retargeting. So we're not just focusing on getting new eyeballs coming in, we're also focusing on building up the following list so we can then go ahead and retarget them. And you can retarget them through a few ways. You can retarget them with stories. So each story that the model uploads, that's getting sent out to a list of 7.8 million people. And if she's doing call to actions on that list to go ahead and check out the OnlyFans, you can guarantee she's getting thousands and thousands of subscribers come in with each individual story post. Again, on Twitter, you can build a community, just like this model has done. And people then go ahead and follow the community, and you can then go ahead and retarget people through this community. On Snapchat, uploading stories, they go ahead and check out the model on Snapchat. They go ahead and open up Snapchat, and they can see the stories, and they can see pics of the model. Again, you can do this with threads on Instagram. So giving options for people to go ahead and being able to retarget them. So being able to retarget them through the stories, being able to retarget them through uploading new content. Chances are the followers are already going to see that. And then also retargeting them through building up these sort of assets like communities on Twitter, stories on Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok, and then threads on Instagram as well, okay? Now, something that's really important that's overlooked is conversion, okay? So the conversion happens right here. So we want to go ahead and let me just click red. So right here, when they click on this, they get taken to the model's OnlyFans page. And from there, they then have the opportunity to buy access to the OnlyFans page, and they can buy content. So all the money she's making is going to be making it from this OnlyFans link here. That's why she has it main of center in the link tree. So when people click on it, they can check out the model's other socials for the retargeting strategy, but also they're mainly prompted to go to the OnlyFans because that's where she really wants those subscribers to go. And there's a cool thing called conversion rate percentage, okay? So this is based on touch points. So the likelihood of people watching one video of your model and then subscribing is around about 0.1 to 0.3%. So that's like seeing one piece of content and then going ahead, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to this model. 0.1 to 0.3%, okay? So that means if you get 10,000 views on a particular reel, like the people who just watch that reel, you'll get a few of them who will go ahead and check out and subscribe to the OnlyFans straight away. Now, when there's 3 touch points, so let's say they've seen 3 different pieces of content from the model, that conversion rate then goes up to 0.5%. So let's say you get, you get 100 views on a particular post. You're going to go ahead and, for each, you get 200 views on a post, you're going to get one person who's seen 3 posts, you're going to get one person who go ahead and subscribe, okay? And then when it gets to the 6 touch points, it's a 3% conversion rate. And then something that really exciting that happens is when you get up to 10 touch points, 5%, 20 plus touch points, 10%. So as you can see, the likelihood of them going ahead and subscribing to the OnlyFans page increases with each and every piece of content that they see. So when people focus on saying, well, I got 100,000 views, I got barely any subscribers, because you're only going to be getting 0.1 to 0.3% of them going ahead and subscribing. You've only got one touch point. You need to go ahead and you need to make sure you're doing a good retargeting strategy so that you can actually go ahead and get them to see more content. And then when they see more content, you're going to get more of those initial viewers starting to go ahead and subscribe as time goes on. Okay, so it's so common that I hear from OnlyFans agencies, OnlyFans models saying, I got a viral video but got barely any subscribers come from it. Yes, it all makes sense now because you've seen this graph here that is based on real data from OnlyFans accounts that we are managing. Okay. So we've covered niching, we've covered content, we've covered subscriber acquisition. We are now going to be talking about subscriber optimization. So at this point, you're going to be relatively well adept in picking a good niche, getting the right content, building out and getting subscribers. Now we have the subscriber optimization, which is the really big lever, okay? So subscriber optimization is all about the OnlyFans account. So it's all within here is how you do the subscriber optimization. So you have the subscriber entry that comes in. So this is the OnlyFans account funnel. It's a typical one that we use. We have it a lot more developed in my agency, and we give consulting clients inside my program OnlyFans Millions operating system. We go ahead and we give them a more advanced version of this as well, which is what really squeezes that juice from each and every subscriber that joins. But here's a simple overview. So we have the welcome message. So as soon as they join, there's a welcome message that gets fired out. There's a cheap qualifying pay-per-view that's sent out to them, so we can whittle out those who are kind of cheapskates and not looking to spend money on the model's account. We then have a tipping menu that's sent out to them as well, so they can see easily the upsells they can buy. So if they do want to go ahead and buy stuff straight away, they can start spending, giving them that option through upsells. Like, so many people like just don't give enough opportunities for people to spend money. Like, if you're saying like, oh, this OnlyFans account isn't making enough money, actually sit down and look at, okay, how many opportunities am I giving to make money? What's my subscription price? $3. Okay, I don't have that much opportunity there to make money. Do I have any bundles for subscriptions that I'm offering? No, well, maybe I should implement that. Am I actually going ahead? Do I have upsells that the model's offering? No, there's no upsells. They don't really have the option to buy. Is there a VIP option? No, there's no VIP option. How often am I sending out pay-per-views? So I'm only sending them out like once a week. Like, there's not that much opportunity for people to actually spend money. So if you have someone who comes in who's willing to spend, $10,000 within a month, you're not giving them the opportunity to spend that money. So as soon as they go in, as soon as the subscriber enters, we're qualifying them, we're giving them upsell opportunities. Within 3 to 5 minutes, we're having the first DM that gets sent, separate from the welcome message. We then have a chat who comes in, implements the intro script, so building rapport with the subscriber, getting to know them, what's your name, what's your job, all this sort of stuff, so that they feel like they're actually being listened to, they're actually being known, rather than just someone to buy content from them. People want to feel like they have a relationship with the OnlyFans model. So the way that you go about doing that is by actually building up some rapport through asking questions and getting to know them. We then have the top of mind. So we're making sure we're keeping engagement up so we can have monetization up as well. I've talked about this earlier in this video, but we need high engagement. And we do that through OBF stories, wall feed, sexting mass messages, getting engagement so our chatters can go ahead and sell content. We then have spend identification, okay? So if they're a low spender, so they're not spending that much money, they've spent like less than $100 within the account, after we've gone ahead and send them a cheap qualifying pay-per-view, giving them a tipping menu, run the intro script and try to sell them a bit. If they're still not spending much, then it's the low spender route, and we tend to optimize that route through doing targets, so uploading to the model's wall feed, saying, hey, if I hit X amount of money, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z through live streams. They can join live streams. Maybe it costs like $10 to join a live stream. They pay the $10 and they get a join, and there's a spin the wheel and stuff on the live stream. Cheap pay-per-views, and sending out cheap pay-per-views to people to buy for like $10. Eventually, once you've built them, some people are just going to get stuck here. They're going to unsubscribe. They're just not going to spend that much money beyond the subscription. In that case, you're just going to keep monetizing them with this. But if they do spend more than $100 plus, we then want to move them to the high spender route. So we want to make sure that when subscribers prove that they're willing to spend money, that we're not just keeping them in this sort of low optimization, like low revenue opportunity area, and then we're actually moving them up to a high opportunity, high revenue generating area. So we then move them to the high spender route. So through this, we can have our chatters go ahead and give them a bit more of a detailed assistance, a bit more of detailed interactions. So start selling customs to them, start selling other upsells as well, whether it's live calls, all that sort of stuff, and then start selling some sexting sets as well. So sexting sets are pre-made content from the OnlyFans model. So the model may create a Netflix sexting set. So she'll be in bed, she'll take a picture, and you can then use that as a preview image for free that you send out. And then next, she may take a picture of her tits, and you can send that out for $5. She'll then go ahead and play with the tits. You send that out for $20. Each and every piece of content gets more explicit And as it goes ahead and gets more explicit, we then go ahead and charge a higher price. So we have this pre-made content here that our chatters have access to, so they can sell the content as if it's happening as a live interaction, even though the model's, off, maybe on holiday, maybe having a margarita, maybe out with their friends, doing whatever. You've got the chatters selling content as if it's happening live in real time. Okay, so we build out these section sets. So we sell section set 1 to 1 subscriber. We can then go ahead and push them to section set 2 next time there's a sexual conversation started, then section set 3, and we just keep on building these out, so we have more section sets for subscribers who've already spent the previous sets to keep on spending. Okay, and then each new subscriber who joins, you then have 6+ section sets pre-made and ready for the chatter to go through and sell one at a time. Okay, we then have re-engage as well. So when subscribers, we want to make sure we're having good retention levels as well. So beyond having good engagement within the account, some people do just turn off. So if their rebill comes off, we want to give them a resub reminder. So we'll send out this is all done through automation. We'll send them a message saying, hey, your subscription's off. I don't know whether you meant to turn it off, but if you want to subscribe, feel free to resubscribe. Then a follow-up 1, follow-up 2. And then if they do resubscribe, then great, we can push them through either the low spender route or high spender route, depending on where they're at. Or if they don't resubscribe, we can then go ahead and just sell them cheap pay-per-views. So we can turn on the auto follow back feature. So that way we can still send messages to expired subscribers. So we can send out a cheap pay-per-view for $10 out to 50,000 expired subscribers. And then each one of them is going to go ahead. You're going to be making, $1,000 plus from each of those messages, even though you're sending content to people who aren't even subscribed to the page anymore. So that way you can still monetize people who aren't even on the OnlyFans page, so expired subscribers. So it's a very simple overview of subscriber optimization. Obviously within my program, we've got templates, scripts, pre-made, dashboards, tracking tools, onboarding flows, training flows. Everything is built out. As I've been running my own agency for 5+ years, I have pretty much built out everything there is to build out in order to have a high cash flow, automated minimal work business. Everything's turned into standard operating procedures, tick box, check boxes, outsourced to virtual assistants, using automations and tools to pretty much just automate everything I've talked about within this video. But obviously if you're getting started and you're not willing to pay for access to getting these systems and this infrastructure that I have inside my program, then you can get started with this information I've given you here, and get started with niching right, getting the content, subscriber acquisition, subscriber optimization, and start scaling models up to $50,000 a month plus, so you can start making lots and lots of money for yourself and your agency. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the format of it, like me sitting at a flowchart, kind of breaking down these processes in depth and giving you walkthroughs of how this stuff looks and works behind the scenes, then make sure you hit the like button and subscribe button, and I'll go ahead and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.